Yes, I tried. Yes, I tried. You lied to me. Even though, I'd die for you, you lied to me. Yes, I cried. Yes, I cried. Return of the Mac. It is Return of the Mac. Come
Ah.
on. Return of the Mac. Oh my god. You know what? I'll be back. Here I am. And could I start? Welcome to Tales from Wales for their new intro where we do lyrics to songs. We have to try and figure out what they are and how they relate to the episode. This week I am joined by my kimono-dressed Japanese little uwu boy, or whatever. I don't know, what's the Japanese thing? Uwu.
Yeah, it's the. I know it's the. I can think of the UW. That.
Yeah.
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Although I am also dressed in an absolute.
I was going to say.
I'm dressed like Onslow.
Frank has gone pure British, the absolute wife beater. Is that? I can only assume that's Stella you're drinking.
Oh, it's actually not. I'm drinking, which I'm going to get onto a bit.
Cold beer.
Lager.
Yeah.
So cold lager is Brewdog's cold beer.
Brewdog's. It's nice.
Brewdog's one. It's £8 for 10 cans, right? And I used to buy those skinny lagers, which were like bottles of lager for like 90 calories, and they were like the lowest calorie ones. But they're bottles; they're not very big. This is only 130 calories for a whole can.
Yeah, they're good, mate. I
got onto the marketing.
Well, who knows with Brewdog, mate? Because they've got a lot of shitter, haven't they?
Can I take a photo of you, by the way? Can you do this? Can you sensei it?
Can you sensei it?
Yeah.
I'll just see your face.
One more. So,
you can ask me to do the eyes in a second.
Don't do the eyes. God damn it, don't do the eyes. Right. Oh, no, hang on. One more. Sorry. This is bad. We'll edit this audio. Okay. Don't know if that's going anywhere. We'll edit the silence out.
That's for us. It's just a little keepsake for us. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Right, what did you think of the solar eclipse?
It was alright, wasn't it? Not bad. Best one I've seen since I was 9 years old, mate.
Well, my mum didn't let me see the one when we were 9. She made me stay inside.
Didn't let you? It's the devil.
Well, I did fucking look at it the minute I came out of paddled. And I came straight out and I looked directly at the sun. And I'm not joking. I kind of forgot about it, but I looked up and it instantly gave me a blinding headache.
See in your eyes, yeah.
What are you drinking?
I'm on the Coronas, mate. Big bottles. I got 4 big bottles because the 3 for a price has gone the way of the dodo, mate. That doesn't exist anymore. It's 4 for 3 now. That's how they get the money out of you, bastards. I had 2 earlier when I was watching the eclipse. I was a fucking fan favourite down the little what they call it out there. The fucking what's the thing? Like an outside drink. It's I want to say boardwalk. It's not that. It's like a little thing over the river. In Bristol, and basically I got a couple of specs, didn't I? The actual nude thingy specs. Well, Amy, a guy in work,
your wife was going to be involved in this.
Yeah, brought loads in, and Amy was like, "Oh, you can take some to Bristol and watch them." So everyone was coming up to me. These 2 young girls came up to me. Young girls, they came up to me, and they were like, "Oh, can we have a look?" And they went, "We'll give you a sweet." I was like, "Gizzo, man."
How young were these girls?
They were. They sound, when I say that story, like they were 7 or something. They're probably about 21, 22, so young for her. And then this little lady with a dog was like hogging the shade with me, and she was like, "Oh, we can't leave the dogs out all day." And I was like, "No, you can't." Blah, blah, blah. And she went, "Oh, do you mind if I have a look on those?" And then she went, "You're more than welcome to join our family over there." And it was like they were all like, "Hey, like, hello." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe." And then I said, "Oh, I'll let you have a go when it's like at the apex or whatever the fuck it's called." And so I did go over and do that. And they had those two, her husband and their daughter. And
so can you see it then with your glasses?
With the glasses, you can just look directly at it and you see like Did
it look cool?
Happening. It did look pretty cool actually. I tried to do a picture with it like on my like.
Everyone here, no one had the glasses, so none of us had the glasses, and I tried to look up and it just instantly burnt my eye. Like genuinely, I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, why did I?"
It doesn't work just looking at your spec like sunglasses either.
No,
it does not work.
Everything I read said, "Don't look at the sun."
Don't do it. Like, listen, I'm going to try.
We'll have a look. We gotta have a look.
It's once in what is it? Every 3 decades or something stupid.
But I think I'll be alright. But my eyes do sting, and I got a red mark. I think I had the red mark.
I got a buy's headache. Who knows? I might die tonight. Yeah. I was thinking, imagine like we've just been ignoring it because we're so like. The pagan sort of beliefs have been forgotten, and we've meant to have done a sacrifice to everyone, but we're like, we don't do that anymore. I know this is like, right, last chance, guys. This is the last eclipse you get to do a sacrifice, and we didn't do it, and it's like the world ends.
Well, you did text me saying what happens to the world ends, and it's a bit out of context.
Like, no, I was just thinking, imagine it did, though. That'd be quite funny, wouldn't it? Like,
it would be quite funny.
Quite biffed it big time.
Yes, it would be quite funny. So Jack's on a confidence course to improve his confidence.
It's not a confidence course, it's a public speaking course. I knew you were going to fucking twist this.
Jack's on a confidence course he can't speak to girls.
He's so unconfident, yeah. He's such a fucking lily-livered little bastard.
Hello,
please.
My name is Jack, or is it David? I haven't quite decided.
I have got a few stories from this course.
I got a few tales to tell.
I'm going to caveat it first by saying it's actually been quite useful, right?
Dare I say? Good, actually. I kind of annoyed that.
It was, surprisingly effective in terms of actual benefit.
Is it a pickup artist course?
A what?
Like those pickup artists, those like creeps on like the 2000s.
Pickup artists. PUA. Sorry, mate. Yeah. I only do the acronym PUA.
You learn how to neg people.
Was it Neil Strauss's The
Neil
Game?
Strauss The Game.
Yeah. He was big for like 2 years. And then didn't he do like a TV show like for picking up women?
But surely he's been Me Too'd.
He's got to have been Me Too'd. You know he's assaulted many of it.
Although he might be one of those people who's kind of like, he was so, like the Russell Brand defense, who he was like, everyone knew it was, I don't know.
I did it, so get over it.
Yeah. I think maybe Neil Strauss went like quite anti it. I think he ended up being like, actually, this is really horrible.
Or did he turn to a good guy? He has a babyface turn from heel to babyface.
He wrote that he got
two
famous
books,
for writing,
I think, didn't he?
Yeah, the one The Dirt, where he followed like that American band around.
I didn't know that. The Motley Crue.
The Motley Crue, yeah.
I didn't realise he wrote that.
Yeah, he also co-wrote Marilyn Manson's The Long Hard Road to Hell.
Marilyn Manson, he probably doesn't shout about that much.
Yeah, I mean, Motley Crue and Marilyn Manson, and he was friends with Russell Brand as well. So, I remember him coming on Russell Brand's podcast, and they were like just slapping.
We'll always be friends, no matter what happens. What?
Yeah. So anyway, give us what. Is there like one good tip you could give us?
You want actual tips?
I don't know, just because it's quite interesting. Also, me and Jack haven't caught up in a while. I've come back, and also we've not drunk together in a while, so it's quite nice.
Exactly, yeah.
So
I said I keep it a bit easy tonight because I got this second day thing tomorrow, but I know what I'm like. There's a bar upstairs. I might just like nip up there if need be.
So how many beers do you have left for the record?
I've got 3, but they're big boys. They're
okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm not going Mega Nuts either because I'm up at like 5 tomorrow. So
I've had 5 this morning. So we are overdue a like proper sesh one, aren't we?
Yeah. But this is like a warm up. We haven't had a drink on the pod in ages.
No,
so it'd be quite nice to have a little.
Yeah, back to basics. But in actual terms, right, one thing that I really struggle with, I don't know if you do the same thing when you're doing a presentation or like a talk in front of people, is eye contact with people. I just tend to look into the abyss, defocus my eyes and look like general.
Between their eyes.
I don't even do that. I didn't used to do that. I say used to today, as of today. But it's I just would not look at people. I'd look at think of any excuse not to look at people. And all today was like one of the fucking exercises they had us do was like a fucking married at first sight bloody couples thing where you sat in front of someone and just stared at each other's eyes for fucking 40 seconds. 40 seconds doesn't sound like a long time, but fuck me, when you're just dropped into that,
this
it's
a
long
time. Course.
It is, yeah.
And basically, I got really is. It's actually Jack has gone on a public speaking course.
Yeah, it's a public speaking course.
And he cried on stage. So
you just can't do a serious thing. You can't do like a genuine thing. I pissed my fanny on stage. I said, and I dropped a deuce in front of the funders. I hate fucking presentations and public speaking.
Yeah, stinks.
Always nervous and anxious when I fucking have to do them. And so there's a generous training budget where I work at the moment. So
it's always public sector stuff. I
was like, just fucking get it done. And maybe a bit of practice will help me. I scoured the internet because all of them were like, "Oh, we'll teach you, methods to deliver a book."
As well, aren't they?
They really are. This guy, this fucking old bloke, this delivering mine, must be making a fucking money hand over fist. But anyway, I picked this one because it had there was loads of reviews saying this actually helps with like the feelings as opposed to like I don't need to learn how to explain a comms plan. Like I know how to do that. It's the nerves I need to get rid of.
I think most people feel that it's the anxiety.
Yeah.
And the nerves.
So it's all about the I'd actually say it's more of a psychology kind of thing and like learn about
CBT.
a bit like that. And it was actually quite beneficial. But I think I'm better even just with the first 8 hours I've done today. Like so
Yeah.
much better. But I do need to absolutely slag it off now because I got a few good things. I would recommend it to anyone, but here's a couple of things that I'll slag off now. So
I look so much like Onslow in a vest. It is unreal. Remember from Occupant Appearances?
You do look quite funny in the vest, yeah. This is only for would this only be for the Patreons, the video?
Well, it depends if we need to edit it, because if we can do this without editing, we can we'll upload it direct to the page, which is and we did have a little. Maybe we'll upload it to the page without any editing, and then for the main feed we'll do.
Edited. Let them see us fucking warts and all. Warts and all. So yeah, let me set the scene with this guy. So this guy, he came in. This guy, he's like, "Hi, I'm John." He's like a guy in his mid-60s. Seems fairly normal so far. He's been doing this for like 20-something plus years. Seems like an alright guy. Right, I'm not lying now. Where he in this trading seminar thing, 8 hours I was there. He cried about 6 times. I'm not joking.
That's mad.
Like proper fucking streams
Really?
down the face. Yeah, the first one, right, and he was like, we were maybe, I don't want to say 45 minutes in or something.
Yeah.
He constantly tells stories all the way through this thing, like, because he's been doing this for so long. He's like, oh, this one guy was a Marine, and he said this one is it, X, Y, Z, and this one, and he went, and this will teach you some of the, some confidence as well. Like in your personal life, you'll be able to blah blah blah. Take to task things you never would before. He said, I'll give you an example. I was on a train one time and all these 30 drunk football lads came on and whatever. And he said, and you could tell there was uneasiness, they were being misogynistic and all that. And then he said, and then they did something that I'm sorry if I tear up now. He did start tearing up. And he said, they started singing a song about raping children.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, when you boil it down to that in the literal sense, it sounds really horrible. But I imagine there's tons of football songs where they're like going.
Well, I would say actually, I've never heard a football song about
maybe
that.
not about raping children, but like you might compare someone to Savile or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like I imagine it was probably.
Oh, that's probably what it was. Yeah, it's probably more
I doubt it was like them going, "Oh, we're gonna fucking shag some kids."
That's what it sounds like, is it?
But when you say boil it down, I'm sure there's loads of football chants. You could if you boiled them down to what are they talking about. Yeah, well, that sounds awful.
The pack of Chris, a cheesy smile. My alarm's coming off. And then manager is
X is a fucking paedophile. Mate, that is a chant about having sex with children. It'll be what this guy said, and he was tearing up. I was like, oh, and I was a bit like, I want to be like, what was the chant? Tell me the chant.
You're going to have to
do the chant, John.
You're going to have to do the chant, John, with the same gusto.
No, do it proper. Do it real, like you were one of the lads. And anyway, you was talking about that, and then there was all these different things. Like you had these stories. The stories, man. It was like, I got talking to someone on the train, because I love talking to people on the train. The exact kind of person we hate on the train, right? And he was like, oh, and then blah, 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 blah. He does this like sort of little song and dance, like, oh, she introduced me. Turns out she was riding a horse in the Olympics that year. And it would be like, or turns out she was trying to disprove Einstein's theory of relativity. And like, I was expecting to be like, talking to some black guy on the train. Turns out Barack Obama, something like that,
I always find those training things, they do two things. They tell these mad stories. You go, oh, not everything's that inspirational. It's like, I spoke to the janitor at NASA and I said, what do you do, janitor? He says, I put a man on the moon, implying that everyone's role is important.
We all had a role to play. Yeah.
And they also... They go, oh, and it's this is from John. I was going to say John Lovett, but that's the actor. This is from John Marlowe. John Marlowe once said, and they quote these other speakers who no one knows who they are, like these other pop psychologists. It's like, in John Marlowe's book, 10 breathing steps, and it's like we don't. I do always find it. I'm a bit cynical.
I wouldn't know if that was true, if that was a direct quote or not, mate. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, and it's just like they all kind of live in it. It
was a bit naff to begin with, like where. There's a bit where he goes like, he scrunched up a bit of paper, right? Very like performative art. And he went, this is your anxiety normally. And he got another one scrunched up and he said, now you're doing public speaking. And he scrunched another one and he went, you're not good enough. They're judging you. They're doing scrunching a paper each time, right? And then at the end, it went on for like 50 minutes. Of course, at the end, he goes, which one would you rather have? And there's a huge clustered ball that he's scrunched loads into all of it. I said, yeah, I get it. It's anxiety. I get it. Yeah, it's anxiety. The more you have, the worse it is. And it's like, so it was a bit like that. I thought, is this going anywhere? It was very beneficial, but yeah, he told those stories. And there's another bit where he was trying to tell a story about this Marine who he taught this stuff to. And one of the things he says, what is your inner voice saying when you're up there in front of people and all that sort of stuff? Of course, you're all saying things like, oh, I'm inept, or I'm being judged for how much I'm doing this, whatever.
I'm a big fat dork.
I'm a big fat fucking troll loser. And he said, this is what that Marine said to me. He said, and I'm going to do it exactly as he said it. And he opened a window and he shouted so fucking loud. And he said, you can't, as in you cannot, right? And he said like 5 times, he said, and that's how loud he said his inner voice saying he couldn't do it was. It sounded so much when he says, you can't. And there was like, out of this hotel window sort of thing, the conference room, I was thinking, these people just saying, you can't.
How many people on the course?
There's 10 of us.
Will you all be back tomorrow? For how long?
Yeah. It's only two days. But like at the start, they got us to stand in front of people and like do stuff. And it was like, I was nerve-wracked, as you can imagine. Yeah. But then at the end, I was way better. Like at the end, and like doing eye contact and all this sort of stuff, all the stuff you learn, it actually worked. Much to my annoyance, because I was so ready to slam it all.
Yeah. What about tomorrow? How long will tomorrow be?
7 hours instead of 8 hours, but like it's too fucking long. Like working from home, I don't work fucking 8 hours.
No, I do like 4 hours.
Exactly, max. But another thing he did was he was saying like when people are listening and watching you do a presentation, they're very blank-faced. They're not really showing expression. It's not a conversation where someone goes, oh yeah, just like reciprocal, whatever the fuck that word is. It doesn't reciprocate. So it was like a big part of the day was like getting used to, as he kept saying, blank faces. Blank faces are fine. It's okay to see a blank face. And I couldn't help but think, because he had like a bit of an accent, it sounded like you were saying blackface all the time. Like, blackface is fine. Blackface is, there's nothing wrong with blackface. And I was like, blackface is fine. It's really funny, actually, so just keep doing it. And I was like, so many times I had to like bite my tongue to stop like smiling and laughing, because I just was going, I'm going to tell this to Faust, and it's so funny. Blackface is fine. There's nothing wrong with blackface. But yeah, so...
we're 17 minutes in. We should probably get going.
I got a 5-page or a 7-page. I can't remember now.
I might get another beer.
I might do the same, actually. I haven't got a fridge, so I'm getting them from my sink.
All right,
so
should we go
sink full of water. Let's do that, and we'll be back.
All right. So from one little lad who hasn't got much confidence to a couple of lads who had a bloody backside full of
barrels of this stuff. Yeah. So
today's episode we're covering them, and this is a 2-parter. We're going to do this is around Welsh freedom fighters or domestic terrorists.
You could actually argue this is part 2 if you include a previous episode. We'll talk about that, but this is actually intentional. We're doing a 2-parter here.
Yeah.
But yeah, today I'm going to be talking about the Mudiad Amddiffyn Cymru, or MAC, which means the movement the movement for the defence of Wales. For any non-Welsh speakers, we did a previous episode, as you just mentioned, on a guy named Julian Caio and the Free Wales Army that had a bit of a crossover with MAC, but macro group with similar ideals to the FWA, but with a whole history of their own to delve into. But go check out the episode on the FWA if you haven't already. It's a pretty good one, and it's sort of like it fits in with this episode and the one Frank will be doing after this. So anyway, MAC was a relatively small group driven by their anger over Wales's political position in the United Kingdom, and basically got sick and tired of Wales and the Welsh being treated like shit by the UK government in and around the 1960s. This led to almost a decade of campaigning that even escalated into bombings, becoming the most significant militant nationalist group in Welsh history. But let's head back before they earned that lofty title and trace MAC back to the beginning. So, to set the scene for Cymru at this point in history, the post-war period, throughout the 1950s, many people in Wales, especially the nationalistically inclined, were very concerned with how their country was faring. The Welsh language was shrinking, many rural communities were in an economic downturn, and there were plenty of folk who looked at England as a neighbouring country that was extracting Welsh resources for their own benefit, especially coal and water. So there was already an undercurrent of dissatisfaction among the Welsh, and this grew slowly but surely beneath the surface for year. Say that again. So there was already an undercurrent of dissatisfaction among the Welsh, and this grew slowly but surely beneath the surface year on year. Nothing symbolised this frustration more than when the announcement came in 1955 that the Tryweryn Valley was going to be flooded by the Liverpool Corporation in order to create a water supply for Merseyside and Liverpool itself. Despite unanimous opposition from Welsh MPs, Parliament approved the scheme and plans to submerge the village of Capel, a Welsh-speaking village, were given the go-ahead. For the passionate Welsh, this was seen as proof that Wales lacked the political power it needed to defend its interests, and absolutely loads of people were in uproar about it. We did a whole episode on Tryweryn as well. I'd say it's essential listening, really, if you're interested in like sort of Welsh history. One of the great political gut punches we've had as a country over the years.
If you listen to this, you'll know it.
You'll
take an episode on it.
Probably au fait with it, but we did a whole episode on Tryweryn itself. Goes into a bit more detail. But anyway, the resentment built once again in 1962. Farmer Owain Williams, he gathered a small group of fellow nationalists around his cafe, the Espresso Bar and Grill, where they discussed about how ineffective the politics of Plaid Cymru were at preventing the planned destruction of Capel. The group talked and eventually decided that protesting wasn't going to do the job and that direct action was needed. So they pinched some explosives from the local quarry and started planning attacks against Tryweryn-related infrastructure, operating small cells and always with the intention of being a secret group, not a public nationalist organisation like the Free Wales Army were. This is where the name Mudiad Amddiffyn Cymru was decided on, chosen because its members' real belief that Wales was under political, cultural and economic attack. After months of prep, on 10th of February 1963, MAC members attacked electrical equipment at the Tryweryn Dam construction site, setting off an explosive that damaged a transformer. The attack failed to stop construction, but it did mark the first attack of its kind against the planned dam. By the sounds of it, when I was reading it up, it definitely sounded more of like a proof of concept as well. Let's try and blow up this transformer, see if we can get away with it type of thing, or see if we've got the nous and the skills and whatever to get away with it. See what happens before we aim for something bigger. But anyway, despite not really affecting the construction, it did attract police attention, and one participant, Emyr Llewellyn Jones, was arrested, prosecuted and imprisoned. Emyr, like all members of MAC, swore not to grass anyone in their organisation up, and he refused to disclose his accomplices' identities during interrogation and hindered police efforts to identify them. I found something online, I don't know how true this is, but it said the oath that they would recite, the MAC members, went as follows. Obviously it would be in Welsh, but in the English translation is, I promise to keep the activities of the movement and the names of the members secret. I promise neither to kill nor to injure any man who, as part of his duty, attempts to prevent me, and I will do everything in my power to ensure that no one is injured or killed as a result of any act on my part. I promise not to undertake any positive act without consulting the other members of the movement.
So they were aiming for construction.
It was more for symbolism, I know they use bombs, which you argue, like, how can you be peaceful with bombs? But it was more for symbolic stuff. That was the intention, anyway.
Yeah, I get that, though. Did you just say how long he got in prison for? Or was it...
I think I say here, actually. I don't think it was too long. I think it was that guy only had like a year, I think, if I remember right.
Because I have a few in my one, which we took. The next episode is going to be around the fire bombings, and it often surprises me, like the custodial sentences. But it kind of depends what you get caught doing. Like often you don't get done. They end up arresting you and having to prosecute you on other charges because they can't get the evidence.
Exactly, because they don't actually have the evidence for the main thing. That happens a bit in this as well, actually. I think I put it in here somewhere, but I'm pretty sure he was only given for like a year or just over a year because they couldn't directly tie him to that, but they had enough evidence to say he was probably involved. But anyway, in response to one of their own being locked up, Mac tried to blow up a pylon near Gelli Lydan in Gwynedd, thinking it was being used to supply energy to the construction efforts of Tryweryn. They didn't want to use timed explosives in case anyone from the nearby village happened to be in the area when they set them off. So they opted for manual. Ethical terrorists, yeah, I know. A bit of an oxymoron.
One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter.
Exactly.
So
but no, I thought that was like, oh, that's quite nice of them, considerate at least. They didn't want to use a timed one in case some random from the local village went past and they got killed. So they opted for manual detonation. Sadly for them, the first explosive fried the circuitry necessary to set off all the other bombs. So they didn't manage to topple the pylon like they really wanted to, but it did damage it enough to cause like a slowdown of the energy supply. And it also showed the police and Wales that they were still active, despite what was considered one of their main players being taken to prison. So this led to further investigations by the police and the arrest of several of the key early members of the movement, including a guy named Robert Williams, another guy named Edwin Pritchard. Investigation into these men then led them to what was essentially the ringleader at the time, which was that Owen Williams, the guy who brought them to his cafe or his bar and grill, and set up the whole thing.
That's such a funny name. It's just like
it was like the Espresso Bar and Grill, And also you think because they like diehard Welsh,
exactly.
Think it would be like Glyndwr's Caff or something like that, But the Espresso Bar and Grill, that's where the flames of freedom roar strongest. So they arrested Owen Williams as well, who was kind of the head honcho-ish at the time in all but name, and so this left a bit of a leadership vacuum within MAC. I read as well that Emmet Llewellyn-Jones, the first guy I mentioned, got arrested. He actually renounced violence after he left prison and later became the chairman of the Cymdeithas i Iaith Gymraeg, or Association for the Welsh Language in English.
Cymdeithas i Iaith Gymraeg are like the non-violent.
Yeah, I was just about to say they're instrumental actually in getting Welsh acknowledged in Wales, including like our bilingual road signs, S4C, which is our Welsh language channel for those who don't know. Yeah. They're like the non-violent sort of politically motivated.
And some people who are activists, who are more inclined for this kind of activism, or terrorism, or resistance, whatever you decide to call it, they often they don't think the Cymdeithas are like strong enough. But if you look back at history, Cymdeithas are probably the most
have actually achieved more, I'd say,
than probably anyone else we cover.
Definitely. They're a huge. They're a big deal. So that guy obviously was, he changed tact after he went to prison, but it's interesting for me that he dabbled in the kind of the quote unquote violent.
He could be,
or maybe violence not the right, militant, shall we say? Resistance, and then
he's like Strauss, the guy we mentioned at the start, the guy who did the game.
Strauss. He was once in the thick of it, and then he renounced his ways.
Actually,
he went from the dark side to the light side really quick. So anyway, moving on to the next pivotal figure within MAC, and this was a chap named John Bernard Jenkins. John was born in Cardiff and was a former sergeant in the British Army that joined up with MAC in the mid-1960s. Many of the members within MAC were obviously very passionate, willing to get their hands dirty for the cause, but John was a bit of a cut above in that he actually had military training. He knew how to keep the group's security tight. Because of this, he quickly began to stand out amongst the group and became a bit of a dominant figure within the organisation. John agreed with his comrades that Wales was being exploited, and this fire within him had fuel well and truly poured on it when they actually flooded Capel Celyn to create the Tryweryn Reservoir in 1965. And just over a year later, then in October 1966, the Aberfan disaster happened. Both of these John viewed as casualties of Welsh interests being neglected by distant decision makers. So for those who don't know, I know we had an influx of new listeners after the Glyndwr stuff. Aberfan was like a really tragic disaster in Wales' history. Basically, a coal tip collapsed right next to Pantglad Junior School, killing 144 people, 116 of which were children between the ages of 7 and 10. The whole thing essentially happened because years of mismanagement and negligence by the National Coal Board, who in response to the disaster just denied, delayed, and made every effort to avoid liability. We have talked about doing an episode on that before, but it's because it's so bleak. It'd be a really somber one. We probably should do it. We probably owe it to Wales to do it, but it's that would be a non-Bants episode. I think it's just so harrowing.
It's just horrifically sad, isn't it?
Yeah, and this and there was lots of people in Wales who were very fucking pissed off, as you can imagine, with the way the National Coal Board organised that, and of course that wasn't a Welsh company or anything like that. That was a well, you say UK company, but English company basically. In any case, under John Jenkins, Mac became a lot more of a professional outfit. So members used safe houses, they adopted stricter security procedures, focused more on symbolic infrastructure targets in their attacks. And in 1961, a study was conducted on the feasibility of another reservoir, the Clywedog Reservoir. This reservoir, like Tryweryn, was controversial because it once again involved flooding Welsh land to create water supplies that only served areas outside of Wales, the English Midlands in this case. Opposition to the build was strong off the back of Tryweryn, and Plaid Cymru fought hard legally and politically to quash the project. They advised supporters to lease the land of the proposed reservoir site so that they'd have a legal right to challenge the scheme at public inquiries, which was like a kind of like a masterstroke legal move at the time. They were thinking, oh, fuck, this is going to be great. But in true sore loser fashion, the UK government just changed the law so that developers didn't have to consult leases of the land. So they had a genuine way to fight it, and they just changed the law saying, we don't actually have to consult you now.
Are you following this like whistle thing, that whistle depot up in like Manchester? And that girl on social media, Zoe Bread, she puts a bread on the head. And like, yeah, and she used to make really funny videos, and now she's like this activist because Wigan Council have let this massive industrial like depot open up next to the residential place, and it's just completely highlighted how corrupt councils can be. And I know it's not boring because councils are like boring admin, but there's so many backhanders and so many
100%.
Cardiff Council is one of the worst for it, but Zoe Bread is this massive campaign on it.
The Glamour are awful as well. Like back where I'm sort of from originally, you know, the just up the road from me is the Aston Martin stuff. So there was a huge RAF base there that's like now been taken over by Aston Martin. It's a big factory, and there was a law or bylaw or something like that up until very, very recently that was like, if you're a member of the council and you own like a land over a certain amount of hectares or something like that, you can't just sell it to developers because obviously you'll have a vested interest in doing that, you know what I mean? And then they decided to repeal that law. As soon as that happened, one of the councillors made fucking bank on selling like a huge plot of land for like a
I'm not a conspiracy, and I'm not too, you know, like libertarians don't want any government in their life. I think you know, taxes are a good thing. It pays for hospitals, pays for schools, pays for fire.
I got a problem with tax,
Yeah, but it's like then you get the other side of it where it's paying for fucking, you know, bombs that go off. You know, maybe.
This is
you know. It also then it's like these things. Then when you said the council tax stuff, it's like but you guys are so. It's so clearly, and this Wigan thing, right, is so clearly highlighting just how corrupt and how, like, if it benefits them, but they have these rules.
So blatant these days, isn't it? You know, at least before they used to try and use a bit of cloak and dagger about it. But, like, you know, it's like this. It's ridiculous.
Anyway, that's a different thing. I'm getting around.
Anyway, we'll put the wheels all right when this is done. So this was all this anyway.
So they actually tried to do it the right way. They tried to take a legal.
Tried to go down the proper avenues, and they had a real good sort of chance of it. The UK government just changed the law, so that they couldn't. All these efforts were in vain essentially. So this was apparently the turning point for John Jenkins, who was actively serving in the army at this point in time. He later argued that the government's willingness to change laws to suit its objectives convinced him that constitutional methods alone could not protect Welsh interests. So then on 6th of March 1966, another bombing attack destroyed a huge overhead cableway used for the construction of the Clywedog Reservoir. The explosion did £30,000 worth of damage and delayed the completion of the reservoir by 6 months. I looked at what that would be today, and it's about double, so about just over £500,000 worth of damage with this bomb. John claims that he only had a small role in Mac at this time, but whatever the case may be, this attack became the catalyst for Mac's revival and the start of what some historians describe as Mac's second phase of development, or Mac 2 for short, which was led by John Jenkins. Under him, Mac became a lot more of a professional outfit, as I mentioned. Members used safe houses, adopted stricter security policies, and they decided to sort of branch outside of just construction projects and go to more like politically themed things as well. No perpetrators for the Clywedog bombing were ever identified, but it did trigger a huge police investigation, and they found an army-style cap with the Free Wales Army logo on it. The other militant nationalist
group got them.
the merch got them. It was that's the other militant
Imagine we
nationalist
start a
group.
movement and the DILF t-shirt
Tails
we made
away.
gets
The
us
DILF,
down.
yeah.
That's
No.
our downfall.
Also, that would narrow it down to about 3
But
people in
10
the entire
people,
world.
'cause
Yeah.
no one bought that
Yeah,
t-shirt.
no one.
But to be fair,
Me and you own one each.
we don't even wear it. That's the one. I
wear that around my house. That's
I think I like the Glyndŵr one, but having a massive Glyndŵr on your back sometimes is a bit much, and it can sometimes feel a bit.
I don't mind it so much anymore. I've gotten used to it with the Glyndŵr. The Mabinogion is fucking class.
The Mabinogion is so sick. Yeah, buy the merch. It's on our link tree, but you can buy the merch.
Go over to Chris IT. We've also got the something about Mary, the Mary Lloyd one as well, which is a nice one.
It's jizz on a horse, which can be a bit problematic. But we also have one that Jack made, which I do think is so funny, but it just doesn't really. It's a t-shirt that says DILF, and it says I love from lad from Iaith from Cenedl, which is like a Welsh slogan for I love my language.
Basically, if you hate Wales, you don't like it, and if you love Wales, you fucking love it.
But you do have to walk around with a dragon on your chest with the word DILF.
That says DILF, yeah. I think you've got to get quite close to read like the... Oh no, it's a joke. I'm not actually saying I'm a dad. I like to fuck.
Yeah.
Right, where was I? So yeah, they found this army cap. And it had the Free Wales Army logo on it, that other group I mentioned earlier. Yeah. But this was strongly suspected to be, this cap was suspected to have been planted as like a misdirection because the Free Wales Army, they're a lot more public facing. So it would, I'm not saying that Mac did it, and no one can say that Mac did it necessarily, but it would kind of serve their purposes to drop a Free Wales thing there. Oh, who is it? Which organisation did it? Sort of thing. So it misled the authorities. This, of course, was the same spot in the FWA episode where we have a bit of an overlap because in 1967, John Jenkins actually supplied the FWA with a bomb so they could attack the Fron aqueduct, which that pumps Welsh water into Birmingham. The device failed to explode, and this convinced John that the FWA weren't a serious and disciplined enough group to work with Mac. So after that, he decided to distance himself from the FWA and wouldn't work with them on any joint ventures anymore, basically. That's it. Yeah. That same year, Mac targeted the Lake Vyrnwy pipeline, a line that carried Welsh water to Liverpool. Also, if anyone's listening this long, are you noticing a pattern, by the way, of all these fucking pipes going out of Wales to England? There's a reason these guys were pissed off. Anyway, they targeted the pipeline and managed to blow it up. Then in November that year, Mac set off a bomb at the Temple of Peace and Health in Cardiff in response to the building being used as a base. I know, bad optics there.
Yeah. We set the bomb off at the puppy and orphan factory.
Puppy and orphan centre. We blew them up to hell.
Factory was the wrong word to use there.
The factory, cheering them out. Oh, mate, puppies and orphans are fucking woke conspiracy. They don't actually exist. So yeah, the reason they targeted the Temple of Peace and Health in Cardiff, you think, why would you do that, Mac? It's for peace and health. It's because it was being used as a base to plan the approaching investiture of the Prince Charles as the official Prince of Wales. So as you can imagine, these diehard Welsh boys, they weren't too keen on another Englishman getting to call himself Twysog Cymru.
They have to get rid of that soon. If they want
they really got to. I think it will be done in the next couple of years. Maybe next couple of decades, maybe.
Because Welsh independence is such a prevalent conversation at the moment, I generally think they'll be, to appease it, which would work. It would help a lot of people to go, well, get Wales on the flag, because Wales are not represented on the Union Jack, and get rid of an English cunt being the monarch. Get rid of the... I don't know. It would be a much easier thing for them to go, hang on, we know the monarchy's outdated and we know this is a role of subjugation.
It would be really nothing for them to give up, would it? Apart from saving face. Saving face.
The Sussexes or whatever.
Yeah.
I
talk about that. Bring them back. I talk a little bit about that later, but I don't think it's far off. I say far off, like maybe 20-ish years, something like that.
But anyway, longer than that, but I do think it's on there.
It's on the cards, maybe.
Yeah.
So then in 1968, they targeted a tax office in Cardiff, a Welsh office building, again in Cardiff, another water pipe at Helsby, Cheshire, and then in April 1969, another tax office in Chester.
So did they actually succeed in attacking them? Or just
they blew these places up, not massive damage, but they set bombs off at these places. All of these were not intended to hurt anyone, but they were simply to draw attention to the cause through damaging government property, because they just wanted to fuck the government off and have them have to spend money to repair it.
It's kind of, because, like the IRA ended up killing lots of people.
Yeah.
But everyone knows the IRA. These people try not to kill people. People don't really know about it in the same way, but it's much more honourable.
Yeah, you know what? I don't give a shit about
building.
I don't give a shit about it. As long as you're not hurting people.
The protests are meant to be disruptive. It's like
exactly.
You hate Extinction Rebellion, but they were.
Yeah,
you understand. They got a message across, even if they
when they're fucking jumping on. I mean, I do agree with it. Like, just stop oil. Stop oil. Jumping on a fucking on the tube train and delaying normal people. Yeah, it's like fuck off. You're just.
But the point is, they are getting
coverage, and that's So they've succeeded in that respect. So, with each attack, the media coverage of Mac increased, and they became increasingly linked, at least in the eyes of the media and the public, with the Free Wales Army, despite their earlier separation. But the truth was that the FWA were a lot more showy, a lot more public-facing, with almost like more of a PR team approach to getting the limelight and spreading the message, whereas Mac were carrying out like genuine bombings.
Yeah.
Like the FWA, you could argue they had equal sort of footing in the media as Mac. They didn't do any bombings after that first attempt one that they botched. But they were very good at like manipulating the media and things like that. So now probably the biggest year to be associated with Mac was 1969, when the British government planned the formal investiture of Prince Charles later that year on the 1st of July at Carnarvon Castle. As I mentioned, they bombed the Temple of Peace just because the UK government were planning it. So, of course, it actually coming to pass meant they'd be gearing up for something big. Wales was somewhat divided on the whole thing, with some seeing it as a celebration of Welsh identity and the others looking at it as a slap in the face, a reminder of England's conquest of Wales and the continued poor treatment it had to weather over the centuries. Mac planned to disrupt the ceremony, and several bombing operations were planned in North Wales. Once again, Mac maintains that the objective was disruption, never to hurt or kill anyone. But historians to this day continue to dispute this, considering the high level of risk that comes with planting bombs, basically. You know what I mean? It's like when you're dealing with explosives, can you ever really say, oh, no, there's no chance anyone can get hurt? There's always a chance, isn't there? But anyway, the plans Mac laid out would not have the effect they hoped, because on the 30th of June that year, Mac members George Taylor and Alwyn Jones were transporting a bomb near the government offices in Abergele when it exploded prematurely, killing both men instantly. Additional bombs had already been placed, one of which exploded in the garden of a chief constable during the ceremony. Another failed to detonate near Carnarvon. It stayed hidden for days before being discovered by a 10-year-old boy named Ian Cox, when it exploded and seriously injured him. According to John Jenkins, when Mac realised the bomb hadn't detonated when they triggered it, they actually rang into the police with an anonymous tip to warn people that there was a bomb there. But the warning was completely dismissed, not acted on, because the police were inundated with hoax calls because of the event. So they didn't really do anything about it, and then this poor bloody Ian Cox kid happened to find it and it blew up in his face. And he didn't die, but he got badly injured. Another device was planned at Llandudno Pier with the intention to disrupt the docking of the royal yacht Britannia. This one also failed to explode.
Imagine how different it would be had they not failed.
I know, that would be insane. I mean, it's mad that two did go off, admittedly days apart, but still. I didn't know that two bombs went off around.
I never heard about any of this. Is it in The Crown?
I don't know, actually. I've seen that one episode where the investiture is, because it's Charles does a thing. He does a speech in Welsh, doesn't he?
Yeah. Didn't he meet with isn't David Iwan arrested or something? I don't know. I
can't remember now. But
I think there's a thing, because
I don't remember anything about bombs in it, but I haven't seen it in a long time, so I might be wrong. But I definitely, this history, in terms of history, I don't remember hearing about this, like, ever. But whereas Mac had set out to humiliate the UK government, the botched plans actually dealt a massive blow to the group's credibility and public image, as you can imagine. John Jenkins was stationed with the army near Carnarvon for the whole ceremony proceedings, and he first heard about the death of his comrades the following morning. A captain entered his tent and said, "We got 2 of the bastards." After he heard this, John went to the sergeant's mess to find out what the captain was talking about, and 2 of his fellow soldiers were joking about how 2 Welsh extremists had been killed. Jenkins would later comment on the event saying, this quote, "I had a part to play and show that as a member of the army, I too was delighted with what had occurred, but inside it was killing me." Alwyn Jones and George Taylor have come to be referred to by some Welsh nationalists as the Abergele martyrs in years since the event. Following these botched bombings, the police were intense in their investigation, and in November that year, John Jenkins was arrested, the authorities having linked him to several of the MAC-associated bombings over the years. At his trial in 1970, John was convicted on multiple explosive-related charges and was given a sentence of 10 years in prison. Although there was still pockets of the same kind of groups elsewhere in Wales, this was like effectively the blow that ended MAC as an organisation. It was one of those, as you mentioned earlier, he wasn't actually charged with the bombings that happened around the investiture. They just linked him to previous bombings that happened because there wasn't enough evidence to sort of link him to that. But it was enough sort of documents relating to MAC that they could get him to have 10 years. But in terms of lasting legacy, despite the dissolving of the movement, John Humphreys, who wrote books about Welsh freedom fighters, he theorised that the Meibion Glyndŵr, or the Sons of Glyndŵr, campaigns from 1979 were effectively a MAC 3 and a resurgence of the same nationalist action. Franks is going to do a whole episode on these boys next, actually, so I won't go into detail. But for those who don't know, Meibion Glyndŵr, they're a group that went around burning second homes in Wales, primarily owned by the English.
Spoilers.
Not spoilers, just the setup.
That's right, yeah.
After John Jenkins was released, he took part in a documentary that went out on BBC One in 2009 called The Prince and the Plotter, where he was interviewed by Hugh Edwards. Some may recognise that name, but for those who not in the know, Hugh Edwards was an honest man with honest beliefs. He was... No, not in the know. Hugh Edwards was once a respected Welsh journalist and is now an outed fucking nonce who is the confirmed owner of one of the most unattractive pictures of a man I've ever seen.
One of the funniest
pictures. Most disgusting pictures. If anyone's seen it, it's just a dad with his bum out and it's disgusting. Did you see he was in the news the other day? Because he tried to submit a poem to the Eisteddfod. And then when someone asked him about it, he was like, "Oh well, the establishment had their fucking pick at me now." And it's like, yeah, I was gonna say, hell, you literally found fucking kiddie porn on your fucking computer, you nonce. Like you have no position to fucking have a go at people. Anyway, so we had this interview with Hugh Edwards before he was disgraced. Anyway, Hugh Edwards interviewed John Jenkins, like I said, and in it, John reiterated how Mac never wanted to hurt anyone. And it was about changing the hearts and minds of the Welsh people, and that hurting the prince or anyone for that matter wouldn't have endeared them to anyone in Wales or the public in general. Hugh Edwards challenged this by saying that violence was not a legitimate approach, to which Jenkins responded, and I quote, "Well, it's a very effective illegitimate way of doing it." After Elizabeth II then died in September 2022, Charles stopped being the Prince of Wales and ascended to the throne as King Charles III. Instead of going for another traditional investiture and officially giving his son William the title of Prince of Wales with a big event and a ceremony, he went against the norm and just gave him the title the day after he was crowned with no pomp or fuss. According to Welsh Government insider David Ellis Thomas, Welsh Government Minister David Ellis Thomas, when he asked King Charles whether there would be another investiture, Charles responded, quote, "Do you think I want to put William through what I went through?" Despite this, when King Charles was doing the coronation tour around the UK, he was met with a lot of protest in Wales, opposing the new Prince of Wales and the monarchy in general. So the Welsh nationalist mentality is still very much alive in Wales, despite groups like MAC and the FWA not existing anymore. And I think that harkens back to, like you said, is that whereas they did like a whole big song and dance about getting Charles in as Prince of Wales, they knew that wouldn't fly these days. Like there'd just be no appetite for it at all. But yeah, that's your lot on the Mudiad Amddiffyn Cymru, the modern day Welsh resistance.
Well, we're going to get even more modern with another one. It's slightly different in how they do it, but and less of I mean, I love that. I thought it was class. It does kind of think Wales, because when often we talk, Wales is a real success story in how the language has survived, And they often kind of portray it as something like a peaceful resistance, but that we have 100 years. Even we had from the when the Romans left up until Edward the First, that was like nothing but war, and then Glyndŵr, the longest ever rebellion against the English crown ever in the 1400s, and then you kind of think a bit peaceful. But in the 20th century, we have probably from the 60s until like the early 90s. 30 years of violent resistance, which is often isn't really covered.
No, I think you know what it is that like the IRA, they do take the limelight in that respect, and fair enough, because.
But the Scots don't really have anything like this, do they?
I think you know what it is the Scots, they did their fucking hardest rebellion, just after Longshank died with Edward II, and they actually did really fucking well, and they kind of got a lot of freedom.
James the First and stuff. You got a bit more, a bit more like.
So I think maybe like they didn't need it in the sort of more modern era.
No, they lost the language, but they
it's one of those. Things. I don't know what's the trade-off in it. What would you feel? Do you think it would be better if we had more
important?
In terms of culture,
I think we will get the other stuff back. The Scots get control of the Crown Estate and the Welsh don't.
But I mean, they've got a much better deal than us at the moment. But then I think
we lost the language. We can negotiate a deal where it's much more difficult.
You can't bring back the language. It's a lot harder to do that. Yeah.
I'm really excited for the next episode as well.
Same, man. You know what? I don't know too much about the maybe.
Well, I knew nothing because I got research in this one. I tried not to know about yours, and I really enjoyed yours. I thought it was. And also, because I know what's coming next, I quite like the kind of background to it.
Yeah, I didn't realise just how many bombings.
I know, it's crazy.
Did. Like you think, like a bombing is like they go, they bombed it and bombed it. It's like imagine a bomb went off in Cardiff. Like now, one bomb, that's insane. Yeah, imagine like fucking 6 went off in like less than 10 years.
I only knew the only bombing I knew about was the failed bombings by the Foire. Up the freedom,
up the Foire. Up the Foire. Let's get Nigel Farage to go up the Foire.
Up the Foire. That's the only one I knew about, but I had no idea about the rest of them. Anyway, we're at close to an hour. We'll do next episode. Is going to be a carry on from this, and it's a maybe on Glyndŵr, and I think I'm quite. Sometimes when me and Jack are happy with our notes, we're quite keen.
I was keen with this one. We're like we've got a couple of bangers in the chamber.
These are, and I think we've had some short episodes recently because I've been away for ages. It's been a busy time.
Yeah, we've been a bit sort of on the fucking fly. We're so back, baby. Oh my god, we're so back.
Right, deal from Grandad. We should definitely remember to do the Patreon stuff, but we're sorry. we forgot to mention it. I mean, the episode is still going out on the Patreon, but we're not promoting it very well. If you've got this far, please do consider signing up for the Patreon.
Give us a pimp star and a 5-star. Cheers, babe.
Yeah, and those who do, we love you an awful lot. Bye.